What that was is something that I originally was trying to set up back in June, I believe, and it was a seminar between all of the members of Project Avalon, which is Bill's private forum, and people who have been watching the Project Camelot and videos to get a chance to ask Bill questions live, where he would answer them live on the radio. And I'd been trying to set it up through Project Avalon, and then he went away, and then he came back, and I got the radio show, just sort of fell in my lap, and I said, hey, I have a radio show now. Surprise.
So what kind of questions were people asking Bill?
They were great questions. I mean, it went on for 2 hours. It was non-stop. We were, but the thing with Bill is it's a wonderful thing. Don't get me wrong. But Bill could take half an hour to ask a question, but he answers it so brilliantly, and he weaves a story, right? And so when you ask Bill a question, we were hoping to pump in a lot of questions. I think I don't know how many we got. We got through quite a few questions with him, but that these are just questions that there are stories on the Project Avalon forum that come up all the time, and things we're tracking that's happening out there now. The Assange stuff and some of the whistleblowers that Bill talks to, and Carrie. There's a whole bunch of big stories, so they just wanted to get Bill's take on it, and he would answer their questions in depth. And in the last half an hour of the show, Carrie Cassidy showed up. Next week, we're going to be talking to Ben Stewart. Do you know who Ben Stewart is? He created Esoteric Agenda, a video on YouTube that you can watch called Esoteric Agenda, and his second film was Kaimatica. What a brilliant guy! This I would highly recommend.
Kaimatica.
Kaimatica. Yeah.
How do you spell that?
It's Kymatiica. Kaimatica. And if you go to our website, www.spectrumradionetwork.com, and look at upcoming guests, I've linked the entire video, the whole over an hour video on our site under his name, under Ben Stewart's name, and he'll be with us next week. But there's all kinds of amazing people out like Dan Winter and
Dan Winter. I want to interview Dan Winter.
Oh, he's one great. Smart guy. The only thing I think with Dan is he's so intelligent that it's difficult for him to speak in layman's terms. Like you have to watch his stuff like a bunch of times to go, okay, now I know what he's talking about. But it's sort of like Zecharia Sitchin when he wrote The 12th Planet. It was so technical and scholarly.
Yeah, it's true. A lot of these people, if we just are talking about these portals that are somehow being opened and discovered around the planet, these time-space portals. That's so
Stargates.
Yeah, the Stargates, and that's something I'm really interested in. I interviewed a woman named Patrice Chaplin who was in the Pyrenees down there, Rennes Chateau area, and found a bunch of those in that area. And those
are natural Stargates.
Yes, and she says, I don't know if I'm supposed to make this public, but she said Howard Hughes went there and then artificially built Stargates after he studied the ones in the Pyrenees. And that's how the whole Philadelphia experiment, Montauk thing started to get generated from these natural Stargates.
Have you talked to Andrew Bashago?
I talked to him briefly. No, I do want to interview him. I know he was part of that time travel program.
Project Pegasus, yeah.
Right, but
we had him on our show as well.
Oh, you did? How was that?
Oh, it's Andrew's another guy that you ask him a question and a half hour later, but the depth of his answers are incredible, and he knows his stuff inside out and backwards.
But I did talk to David Anderson, who has a time warp generator. He's working with governments about sending things backwards and forwards into time, and he's doing that now. He's working with these elements and this technology, and his
Anderson. Yeah, I know who you're talking about. Yeah,
He's brilliant. He says the next wars are going to be time wars, where you can go back in time, change the past, and then create a new future that didn't even exist before you went back in time. It's like, he says time technology is the most dangerous weapon we have, and we need to learn how to use it right.
Or it would, see, another angle on that would be, all it would do, and this would be Andrew Rishago's answer, I don't want to speak for him, but I know his work, would be, it would just create another spin-off of within the multiverse. It would create another timeline, and you wouldn't alter your original timeline at all.
Well, it does alter it because it depends which timeline are you in. You know, our timelines may be being altered all the time. We're just not aware of it. So it's like...
Right. I see where you're coming from.
Right. So it's like the original timeline splinters. And it's fascinating, you know?
It's fascinating.
Anderson did the grandfather experiment. He sent something back. A plant. He used plants. He sent a plant back in time, and then he killed the grandfather of that plant. So technically, that plant shouldn't exist, but it came back to the present. It did exist, but its genetics were different than when it left. So that was a timeline shift that he, I think, did to his own reality. I mean, that's pretty amazing.
If I'm not mistaken, he had worked in the Black Projects. And he is. I could be wrong, but
I don't know.
Now he's doing his own research with his own funding, and he's sort of, he doesn't have the toys that he used to be able to play with. In a Black Ops project, you have toys, but the toys don't belong to you. When you leave that project and you want to do your own work, you got to start with your own toys.
But I do think he is developing some amazing things. He's going to release a video where he's actually going to show the time warp generator in use. And he says just witnessing it as a film blows people's minds. It's like what Tom was saying before. It shifts you so you have a deeper understanding. This is what Anderson was saying about his work. It's so far out there. And he's secretive about some stuff, but he's also, I think, a really good guy. And he's doing something really unique.
I'd like to talk to him if you can get me in touch with him.
I will. And okay. I want to get in touch with this guy, Ben Schwartz, too. Ben Stewart.
Ben Stewart. What I highly recommend watching Esoteric Agenda and then watching Kymatica, because it's one of those things it makes you think. It shifts you. Just watching the shows shifts you. So it's definitely worth it. You've talked to 2,000 people. You've got this huge, broad base of knowledge to draw from. How do people, what's the information on your website? How do they watch is your TV show still running?
Yep, my TV show is running every Monday night on Channel 57, Time Warner Television in New York. That's Manhattan Neighborhood Network is the main station. So that's Monday. And then I post things on YouTube. So if you go to New Realities, one word, on YouTube, you can see a lot of my programs up there. I only have about 300. But on my website, newrealities.com, I have a lot of those different podcasts from BBS Radio I post there. I also post a television show. And I also have articles that I think are really relevant to this whole new realm we're moving into. I also produce events in New York. I have a newsletter, so you can send me an email at newrealities@earthlink.net and get on my newsletter and see what's happening for yourself. In public, I have a New Realities Film Festival happening in the spring. It's a whole media.
So you're going to be catching some sleep after 2012.
Right. No, that's where it starts to get interesting, I think.
I don't know how you're doing all that. How are you doing all that?
I don't know. I mean, I do have help. I do have staff. I do have people, well, not full time, but I do have lots of people that I work with and that believe in what I'm doing. Deepak Chopra's been on my program a bunch of times, and he's he's very open to sharing his information with me. He talked about channeling on my television program. I don't think he ever talked. Isn't that amazing?
Yeah.
I mean, he told me, look, I can say stuff to you I can't say to NBC and CBS, but I could say it on your show because I know your people will get it. So it's a great honor to meet people. He's like the poster boy. I really think he's very articulate, very intelligent, and very open spiritually, and is a really good person, really trying to do something. So I call him the Michael Jordan of our league, you know?
Yes. That he is.
He's definitely one of the big boys out there. And Nassim's going to be one of the big boys, too.
Oh, Nassim is revolutionary. Yeah, I'm so excited. You know, we sort of know the same players, right? Because but there's always new guys coming up through the ranks that have some brilliant idea, like this guy, Ben Stewart. I mean, he's been around a little while, but he's got something, doesn't he?
Oh, no, he definitely has something. There's no doubt about it. And, you know, there's Dan Winter and Vincent Bridges and
I interviewed Vincent Bridges.
Robert Morning Sky and, you know.
Oh, Vincent Bridges, you should talk to him. His whole
he'll be on the 18th of January.
Oh, good. He's really there's so many brilliant people and sort of the old timers too. People like Gene Houston, Barbara Marx Hubbard. I attended something called the Evolutionary Leaders in last August. They had brilliant people there. I mean, J.J. Hertog, who's been around since 1973, he wrote The Keys of Enoch, had a 3-day ascension experience where he went to the high heavens and met Enoch and Metatron and was downloaded this whole thing called Future Science. The Academy for Future Science is what they started. There's so many exciting people coming forward now. It really is a new heaven and a new earth we're entering. So thank you for letting me share my enthusiasm, both of you.
Hey, you know, we're on the same page, I think. We're all part of the same community. You know,
I'd love to hear some of those case studies because I'm writing about UFO abductions as well. And
we can definitely share some information.
Get a hold of Tom.
I will. What's your email, Tom, if you want it?
It's P as in Peter, R as in Ralph, A as in Apple, 4536 at yahoo.ca.
Okay.
Or just info at SpectrumRadioNetwork.com. Tom has not just his collection of 30 years of UFO research. There's some UFO researchers that have been in the field longer than him that when they passed away, they willed their collections of all of their research to him.
Wow.
So, I mean, Tom has, and that happened half a dozen times. He's got a whole house full, a warehouse full, you name it, he's got it.
Where are you guys located? You're
in Toronto.
You're both in Toronto?
I'm in Toronto, Scott is in Hamilton.
Yeah.
Hamilton?
Yeah, he's just outside of Toronto, about half an hour outside of Toronto.
You're both Canadians. Well,
yep.
Good, I'm glad you're taking
this. We're the Canadian UFO guys.
You are. You're the main guys in Canada,
Well, Tom's the main guy. He was the president of MUFON Ontario that split away from MUFON International in 93.
Well, Stanton Friedman's living in Canada, isn't he?
Ooh,
yeah, he's down in the Maritimes.
Really well.
Yeah, he's down in the Maritimes.
He's in the Maritime. Oh, yeah, on the Atlantic. Yeah. Well, maybe I'll do a show with you guys on some UFO stuff, okay?
Most definitely.
Have you interviewed Richard Dolan about his new book?
Not yet.
I'm trying to get him too. I put a word out for him, but let's just keep playing.
Let's end it here, and then we will get together on the other side. We'll talk again. I'm sure we have a lot to talk about. We'll stay on the line and chat.
Okay. Well, thank you for letting me be a guest on the show and talking about what I really love.
You're very welcome.
Okay.
Our pleasure.
Thanks, guys.